Radioscope, the National Science Magazine program.
Good evening, listeners, and welcome to the latest edition of the National Science Magazine, Radioscope. In today's edition, we take you through varied topics from the discovery of new species to the latest scientific events and happenings in the world of science. So let's begin our journey into this enthralling world. In order to create awareness on forest conservation and promote environmental preservation, India has many festivals related to trees. One of them is the Mahotsav, an annual pan-India tree planting festival celebrated in the first week of July. Mahotsav is observed to create awareness about the importance of trees and forests, while maintaining ecological balance and ensuring environmental stability. So let's listen to an interview on the significance of this forest festival with Shri Badonlang Wahlang, the Chief Conservator of Forests, Meghalaya. Our interviewer is Dr. Boney Nicols.
At the very outset, sir, shall you enlighten us on what is Mahotsav and why is it celebrated?
Before I speak something about Mahotsav, actually it is a very, very common term, a very common word which we do here. I would say that although as been said, Mahotsav is the festival of trees. But before I dwell into that, I feel that I should go back into some history when this Mahotsav originated. Actually, it was told that it was only during 1950 that this Mahotsav was established and the inaugural celebration was held in July of 1950. It is all because of the initiative of M. Munshi, who was India's Union Minister of Agriculture at that time, who founded the Mahotsav with the intention of highlighting the value of trees and forests in preserving ecological harmony. The festival concept also came from Dr. M.S. Randhawa, it was told, in the village of Kodaikanal, which is in the southern state of Tamil Nadu. So, on this planting drive was initiated during those years, and on the success of this plantation drive, the Mahotsav was established in July 1950. And since its inception, Mahotsav has grown to be a significant annual occasion in India, supporting the preservation of forests and especially increasing awareness among the public. And the festival has contributed so much to India having more green space and has come to represent India's dedication to environmental preservation.
So, sir, moving on, can you tell us a little on the significance of Mahotsav Day?
The significance of Mahotsav has many impacts. In fact, this is the celebration which is done annually in the first week of July every year, assumes great importance to signify the importance of forest wealth in the country. So actually, in a broad framework, if we talk about Mahotsav, it is an important day like any other celebration related to forests and the environment. So when it comes to significance of the Mahotsav celebration, the first thing which comes into mind is that this celebration, reminds us that through this celebration, it helps in promoting the environmental conservation. It also helps in mitigation the impact of climate change, because trees play a crucial role, in mitigating the impact of climate change by absorbing carbon dioxide. And then it prevents soil erosion. And then the significance also is related to promotion of biodiversity, that is living together in a forest between different species, not only flora but also fauna, that is the wildlife. It also improves human health. There is one saying that you can take the forest out of the man, okay, but you cannot take the man out of the forest, which means we need the forest. And we need, because when you talk about forest, there is so much talk about the food chain available in the forest. So the significance of Mahotsav also relates to strengthening the communities, in which the communities can come together and create a sense of shared purpose, Actually, it can also create employment opportunities to the forestry sector, and which can help the strengthening of local economies. So all in all, Mahotsav is celebrated with that spirit that we need to plant more trees because when we plant more trees, we see more oxygen. People can breathe more freely. That's why we also talk nowadays about urban forestry. We talk about, forestry in the nearby towns and cities, so that the presence of these forests will not only ameliorate the surrounding environment by way of the atmosphere controlling the effects of carbon dioxide, but actually it gives, a long-term health benefits to the people in the urban area. So that this is equally so important, especially in rural areas when, the biotic interference, has increased day by day. People are fighting for the same resources 10 years back, 20 years back, and we grow in population, as we all know in India. So these are the basic importance of the Van Mahotsav celebration.
So you've rightly highlighted all the key reasons why Van Mahotsav Day is significant by promoting environmental conservation, also preventing soil erosion and promoting the biodiversity. Tree planting has mind-blowing potential to tackle climate crisis. So, sir, can you elaborate on how Van Mahotsav mitigates the impact of climate change?
Actually, as trees grow, they help to stop climate change by removing carbon dioxide from the air, storing carbon in the trees and soil, and releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. Actually, trees, they provide benefits to us every day. They also offer a cooling shade, preventing cold winds, attracting wildlife, purifying the air, preventing soil erosion, cleaning our water, and adding grace and beauty to our homes and communities. Actually, as trees grow, they absorb carbon dioxide, a major greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. So when communities plant trees, they can help to reduce the impact of climate change in their local area and around the world. When we talk about the mitigation measures, we also remember about two important points: reforestation and afforestation. Though both includes planting of trees, but here reforestation, we can say it is a process of planting trees to restore an existing forest impacting by deforestation, which means that areas which have been, clear felled, people have cut down the trees. Mm-hmm. This is what we are talking, reforestation. But in case of afforestation, it is a process where we grow trees in places where you do not see trees in the beginning. So these are two issues. So, but when we also talk about, impacting climate change by way of Van Mahotsav, of planting trees, when you talk about these different festivals, one should only assume importance that you cannot at all disturb the natural ecosystem which is already present in the earth. For example, you talk about planting more trees. At the same time, you cannot, cut away a grassland which has been kept. Okay, for example, here we are living in the northeastern state and we hear about the grasslands in Kaziranga National Park or elsewhere. You cannot cut those grasses because grasses in itself has enough carbon to store, both in the stem and the roots. So by, cutting down all the grasslands and planting trees, that is also not beneficial. In fact, it will lead to more climate change impact.
It doesn't serve the purpose.
Yes, it will not serve the purpose. Again, when you talk about planting more trees, one have to be very careful. That's why we go by this thinking that trees which grow indigenously should be replaced by the trees of the local species themselves. You just cannot go planting exotic species, and that will lead to monoculture and it will not support wildlife. It will break down the food chain at the highest order, and it will affect climate change in a negative way.
Undoubtedly, trees play a crucial role in mitigating the impact of climate change by absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and releasing oxygen. Planting more trees can help reduce the effects of climate change. Having got a broad perspective about the Van Mahotsav celebration and its significance, sir, what are the specific objectives of Van Mahotsav?
The main objectives of Van Mahotsav is actually, again, to promote the conservation and protection of the forest, and especially, to create awareness about the importance of trees in maintaining ecological balance and ensuring environmental stability. See, the festival aims to encourage people to participate in tree planting activities and to make them aware of the benefits of trees for environmental human well-being. So the specific objectives of Van Mahotsav is to increase the green cover. That we understand. Van Mahotsav aims to increase the green cover in India by planting more trees and promoting afforestation. Again, the objectives is creating awareness. You see, by having this awareness, this festival aims to create such awareness among the people about the importance of preserving trees and forests to mitigate the climate change, preventing soil erosion, and providing us clean air. That's what we need. Van Mahotsav aims to encourage people of all ages to participate in tree planting and to promote a culture of environmental conservation. And it also helps in promoting sustainable practices. Actually, the festival aims to promote sustainable practices such as eco-friendly living, sustainable agriculture, and conservation of natural resources. Another objective is strengthening the government initiatives. It aims to support government initiatives to promote environmental conservation and to encourage public participation in such activities. So overall, the objectives of Van Mahotsav are aligned with India's commitment to environmental conservation and sustainable development, and the festival plays an important role in promoting these values among the public.
So, sir, we've almost come to the end of our very interesting conversation. Just a few words of, a message for all our listeners.
I feel that when you talk about these issues, we are also most concerned about our very own country, our very own state. And the only message here is that we, as communities come together, as departments. When we talk about, afforestation, when you talk about planting of trees, it is not only the forest department who's doing this now. You'll see a number of departments, like departments, have come along celebrating World Environment Day, Van Mahotsav, and they have make a symbol or symbolize that by way of planting a tree. So I feel the only message is when we talk about climate change is to restore back the environment by planting of trees. So let us work together, the public, the rural people, the urban people, along with the government initiatives, so that we can reach our targets, we can reach our goal, not only in paper but actually in the true spirit.
Thank you, sir, for that very inspiring and eco-friendly message and for sharing your expertise on Van Mahotsav, an important occasion to raise awareness about the benefits of trees and to encourage people to become more active in environmental conservation efforts. Tree planting is the quiet future. By planting more trees, we can help mitigate the impact of climate change, protect the environment, and promote human well-being. What is needed for us is to reconnect with nature and to re-understand ourselves as part of nature. So remember, when we plant a tree, we are not only planting a sapling, but also hoping for a greener and healthier earth. Plant a tree so that the next generation can get air for free.
The Northeast is considered the geographical gateway to a considerable amount of flora and fauna in India. To add to this biodiversity of the Northeast is a mesmerizing creature nestled within a community forest in Riphoy district of Meghalaya. A newly discovered cicada belonging to the genus Biquortina, the first ever record of this genus in the country, showcasing the rich biodiversity of Meghalaya. To have more insight on the findings, let's listen to Professor S.R. Hajong, an entomologist in the Department of Zoology, Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, one of the key scientists to discover this new species of cicada. Talking to him once again is Dr. Boney M. Nicols.
At the very outset, sir, shall you take us on a brief journey on the discovery of the bicolor butterfly cicada, both in South Garyll Hills and Riphoy?
Yes, actually, it all started long back when I started my research on this particular and very interesting insect, which are known as the cicadas. And I think all of us are aware of this insect by their loud calling, which is one of the main features of this insect. So I started, researching cicadas some 10 years back in the department and used to go for field work collecting cicadas from Meghalaya and other parts of Northeast. Later on, I was also funded by the Department of Biotechnology for a project on the mapping of cicadas from the entire Northeast. So as part of this work, I have been working on the cicadas of Northeast, including some of my students. It so happened that during the year around 2019, just before the COVID, one of my students actually got hold of this cicada from a community forest near his village. So he brought this specimen to me and I just kept it and I thought that it's maybe one of the common cicadas and I did not had a detailed observation on it. But later on, when I examined it, and I found that yes, it is indeed a very interesting and unknown species of cicada which have not been described from this region and including India.
Very thrilling and exciting. Kudos to the scientists who have uncovered this new cicada species known colloquially as butterfly cicadas from Meghalaya. As we get engrossed in the realm of the cicadas, sir, shall you enlighten us on the salient features of the cicadas and its uniqueness?
Yes, cicadas, it's one of the forest insects that, are most abundant in forest habitats. And their main characteristics are the calls which they make, the loud singing calls. We call them as the calls which are actually meant for attracting the opposite sex. And in technical terms, in scientific term, we call them thymbalization. And this thymbalization is actually the sound which is produced by thymballs which are located on the thorax or on the main body of the cicada. And they are membranous like the membranes of a drum. And when they vibrate due to the pull of the muscles, they emit this loud sound which gets amplified by the almost hollow abdomen. So in a way, cicadas are those loud calling insects which are very, very common in the forest habitat. And we see them mostly around the spring seasons when new vegetations, new flowers blooms, and the jungles are full of these loud, cicadas. And one interesting thing is that it is the males which actually make these calls. And females, of course, do not possess this sound producing apparatus, and so therefore they are mute. So this is how we identify cicadas, by their calls.
All right, so that was a general, salient features of the general cicadas. But what is so special about this butterfly cicada? Is it the wing pattern?
Yeah, most of the cicadas' wings, if you see, they are most transparent. And we normally refer to these cicadas as the annual cicadas. And there are periodic cicadas also. But the butterfly cicadas are terms which are used for a group of cicadas which have wings which are almost translucent, and the wings are with very colored patterns, and they are almost like patterns seen in butterflies. And therefore, French cicada biologist by the name of Michael Bollert term these cicadas as butterfly cicadas. We call them butterfly cicadas because of the patterns of colors which are present on the forewing as well as the hind wings.
So they are more colorful.
Yeah, they are more colorful, yes.
So coming to the crux of our conversation, sir, this magnificent discovery, can you tell us the significance of this finding?
Cicadas actually were worked by many of the British entomologists. One of the leading entomologists who worked on cicadas some 100 years back is W.L. Distant, who had, in fact, studied cicadas from entire Northeast, including other parts of India. And he had compiled all these findings in the form of a book, which is now known as the Fauna of British India. So after a gap of several decades, we started working on cicadas because in India, if you see, there are hardly any groups who are working on cicadas. And the significance of this finding or discovery is that even after so much of knowledge that have been gained through various biodiversity studies, we know a lot of flora and fauna which are present, but there are yet part of the Northeast where many of the undiscovered faunas exist and which are yet to be discovered. So they are maybe in some of the sacred forests or in small patches of forest which is yet unexplored. So we have potential of discovering many new species which have remained undiscovered.
Yes, you've told us about the significance. Now, if we look at the environmental benefits of cicadas, what are the benefits?
If you see directly, it may not be apparent as to what are the various benefits that we have. But nevertheless, if we examine the benefits of these insects in the form of cicada, we find that yes, they have their own important role to play in the ecosystems, and they act as the food for many of the wild animals, including snakes, the frogs, the bats, the birds, and even mammals also. So they form a very important chain in the link that we know that exists in the ecosystem, the intricate link of the food web, the food chain, etc.
Well, as a scientist and entomologist, how do you foresee the future of the bicolor butterfly cicada?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. The bicolor cicada, or more appropriately the Bacuetina bicolor, which was discovered by us, is one of the most unique cicadas because of its wing coloration. And this particular cicada has been reported from Southeast Asia, including Thailand and other adjoining countries, but it was not recorded from India. Therefore, the discovery of this butterfly cicada also highlights the importance of conservation of the forest resources in the form of community forest, in the form of sacred groves, etc. Because we never know how many of other unknown species still exist in these forests.
Sir, a final comment from you on what has been predicted as the emergence of cicadas in 2024 will rewire ecosystems.
We know that we are going through a difficult phase in the form of global warming, in the form of pollution, in the form of deforestation, in the form of ecological degradation, and etc. The emergence of these cicadas signifies the importance of each and every living forms, and it will not be far if we continue to degrade nature, and if we continue to pollute nature, if we continue to deforest, we will have a day when such emergence, such beautiful cicadas will no longer be there in the face of our planet.
As mentioned by Dr. Vivek Sarkar, one of the core team member of this magnificent discovery, and I quote, "The discovery of this celestial cicada species is not just a scientific marvel, it is a testament to the endless wonders that await those who dare to venture into the heart of Meghalaya's mystical forests."
Listeners, that was Professor S.R. Hajong taking us on a journey with cicada and also emphasizing on the need for scientists to acknowledge and explore the traditional ecological knowledge of local communities. Such discoveries may also inspire to identify new study systems for evolutionary and ecological research. And listeners, today is World Hepatitis Day. Every year on this day, the 28th of July, we observe World Hepatitis Day in honor of Dr. Baruch Blumberg's birthday. Dr. Baruch Blumberg discovered the hepatitis B virus in 1967 and subsequently developed the hepatitis vaccine 2 years later in 1969. We commemorate World Hepatitis Day by raising awareness about the viral hepatitis. With about 300 million individuals living with hepatitis B worldwide, it is important to bring awareness about this preventable and treatable disease. Let's now listen to Dr. Garyll Tariang from Northeast Indira Gandhi Regional Institute of Health and Medical Sciences, Shillong. He says, hepatitis can't wait and it's time for action.
Hepatitis is an inflammation of the liver that is caused by a variety of infectious viruses and non-infectious agents like alcohol and autoimmune diseases, leading to a range of health problems, some of which can be fatal. Coming to infectious hepatitis, there are 5 main strains of the hepatitis virus, namely referred to as hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis D, and hepatitis E. Now, firstly, we will talk about hepatitis A and hepatitis E. Hepatitis A and hepatitis E both are transmitted through the fecal-oral route. That is, when an uninfected person ingests food or water that has been contaminated with the feces of an infected person. In families, this may happen through dirty hands when an infected person prepares food for family members. There is no specific treatment for both hepatitis A and hepatitis E, and the disease usually gets better on its own. The spread of hepatitis A and hepatitis E can be reduced by number 1, ensuring adequate supplies of safe drinking water, number 2, proper disposal of sewage within communities, and lastly, personal hygiene practices such as regular hand washing before meals and after going to the bathroom. Nowadays, we also have a vaccine against hepatitis A. Coming to hepatitis B and C, both hepatitis B and C are transmitted predominantly by exposure to infected blood, by sexual transmission, and by mother to child during pregnancy and childbirth. In particular, hepatitis B and hepatitis C infection leads to chronic disease in hundreds of millions of people and together are the most common cause of liver cirrhosis, which ultimately leads to liver failure and also one of the causes of liver cancer. Hepatitis B is both a preventable and a treatable disease, while hepatitis C is a treatable disease only, and free treatment for both hepatitis B and hepatitis C can be taken from the National Viral Hepatitis Control Program Center, which is present in every state in the country. Now, how can I protect myself from hepatitis B? It is important to protect oneself from hepatitis B because it is transmitted in the same way as the human immunodeficiency virus, that is the HIV virus. However, hepatitis B virus is 50 to 100 times more infectious than HIV. The first way to protect oneself is to find out your hepatitis status in order to protect yourself and your loved ones. Almost 90% of people having viral hepatitis are unaware, since the majority of infected people remain without any symptoms and often will only present to the hospital when the disease is at an advanced stage. And so early diagnosis is important for the timely initiation of treatment. So you can go to your nearest hospital and get tested at the earliest. You can also protect yourself against hepatitis B by being vaccinated. The hepatitis B vaccine is safe and effective, and this vaccine is 95% effective in preventing chronic infections from developing. Protection lasts for 20 years at least. In India, under the Universal Immunization Program, hepatitis B immunization includes birth dose for hepatitis B vaccine and subsequently 3 doses of vaccine at 6, 10 and 14 weeks of age. If someone did not get the vaccine during childhood, they can also get vaccinated as an adult. In adult population, high-risk groups, that is, namely people with HIV, healthcare professionals, and people suffering from chronic kidney disease, they are recommended to get a booster dose of the hepatitis B vaccine every 5 years. Now, I would like to make people aware of another hepatitis, one that is more scary than viral hepatitis. It affects the young, both males and females in this day and age, and that hepatitis is alcohol-associated hepatitis. It is a serious illness, but a completely avoidable condition. This condition is also preventable, and we have what we can call a vaccine. However, that is not any form of injection, but that vaccine is called education. We should create awareness that there is no safe level of alcohol, and we should ask our friends and family to stop drinking. As the theme of today's program is Hepatitis Can't Wait, I would like to end by saying hepatitis B vaccination for newborns can't wait, so get vaccinated. Testing for viral hepatitis can't wait, so get yourself tested. And avoidance of alcohol use can't wait, so please stop drinking. We all should work hard to help reduce preventable hepatitis like hepatitis B, treatable hepatitis like hepatitis C, as well as avoidable hepatitis like alcohol-associated hepatitis in the community.
And so, listeners, that's about all we had in this edition of the National Science magazine, Radioscope. Your narrator was Krishna Das Gupta. The program was produced by C. Marbaniang and assisted by Mona Lisa Sun. Radioscope tonight was a contribution of Akashvani Shillong. Thank you for tuning in.